I was just talking about Soroya and Masters of Light drawing, so thinking of like things being lit by light. You're painting light, not so much a shape, well, the shape, but where is that light just hitting a shadow or not? This could be the monster on the table, and stuff in the foreground to kind of switch here. I'll get a few ideas down. I think I'm going to do this. If we just flip it, and the monster's going to be here. Okay. I like those big old, the old Frankenstein movies, and they have like these random, just electrical things. I don't know if they actually make sense in the movies, but I like the look of them anyway.
Well, those would be fun to animate, I bet too.
Oh yeah, totally make like yeah. I think we have something here. A little trick you can do, if you're ever planning things out, is limit yourself to 3 grayscales. So you got white counts as 1, and then if you do like a mid gray, you can do it on top, and then you do bigger brush. There's an idea too to use like a bigger brush, but just separate it out into 3 tones. So we got I'll do them under again. So we got this gray, and we got a black, and this is a third make a circle. That's white. White. And what you want to do is do, so as a rule of thumb, you get 60, 30, and 10. So adds up to 100, right? And then you can apply that to any one of these, but you have to choose what ones you want. So I think I'm going to put the blacks in the foreground. So this is like a table or something here. How much space this takes up? Like skull or something. We'll put shadows over here. And it's a pretty dark image, I think. So I'm just like putting where the shadows would be. So if there's a monster on here, legs and everything, getting the general. This maybe I should cut more light. Oh, I'm gonna grab this.
The 60-30-10 rule, is that traditional, or is that just a technique that you've picked up?
It's pretty traditional. So if you take a lot of the old master paintings or anything, and I don't know, if you just grab an image from online or something like that, and then convert it into like saturation, grayscale kind of thing, most of the really famous like compositions will work out that way, or something super close to it.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's something weird with like, and even if you break up this, it's like your human eye, even if something looks really complicated, really it can only discern so many things to separate shapes. So like it's kind of breaking down your brain into like the simplest forms, I guess. I think the 60 for this is going to be gray. I think. Yeah, it really helps people found just to simplify the way that you can think about it, and then makes everything else easier. Pretty much all the time, you're just trying to. I think the best people are the ones that can simplify things the best. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Like if you, I don't know if people, do you like Kevin Hobbs stuff?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So he's like, I think he's like the master of that. You can see from the beginning, he was already great at the beginning, but he just gets even better. And then you can see like it looks simple, but it's actually so complicated, I guess. Does that make sense?
Definitely. Are you familiar with SMBC, Zach Wienersmith?
No.
He's my favorite web comic. He actually produces one a day, and he gets a lot into philosophy and science and existentialism and religion. But he can do complex facial expressions with like 3 or 4 swipes of a pen, and it's always fascinated me.
Hey, yeah, exactly. That's like the genius level stuff going on. I don't know, it doesn't look like much now, but the thumbnail does kind of similar. Usually it's not break it up into like the different, so I'm trying to keep as most blacks in the foreground, and then it's gonna go grays, and then whites will be like if this is a window, and then I'll keep I want to keep that figure like a doctor guy here. So we'll keep the white will be the 10, blacks are 30, and then grays are kind of the 60 if I was breaking that up. Kind of like this. I think we'll go with that. Okay, let me just, yeah, we generally do. So I can just turn that layer off and then I can turn it back on if I need a peek. I think I've got a good idea. I'm just gonna lay out this drawing and then I'm gonna make more just like a standard one for kind of like a what would happen after kind of thing. So you sneak peek of that. You got like a low horizon break. Get this. A little too low because I want to get more of an angle on table. So you always, if I was doing vanishing point, grab something from here, right? I'm just going to go back pretty steep. Actually, I'm going to make it a little wider. Oh, yeah. Okay. So a little more complicated scene, I think. I'm gonna make it and on. Raise the vanishing point a little bit. Get that big zapper thing here. And follow this. So you can draw a line, so you want to keep everything kind of in relation to each other. This would be the wall back behind here. Say there's a wall here. Zapper thing. So again, so if I stopped here, right? I gotta follow that same vanishing point that I did like one more thing. You know, the bottom of the next one's here, and then it should all kind of make sense. And the bottom of them, this one starts here. I might go right off the page. And do that. The forest line's here, the forest line. The big is that corner of the room, big window. Halloween vibes in the background. Mm.
So if this doesn't distract you, I was curious, does doing this professionally all day dampen your enthusiasm for doing it kind of creatively on your own?
Um, not my own stuff. No, I think it's still just as exciting to like, especially like my own projects and things like that. And it's still super exciting to do that kind of stuff. Depending on
That's
like this stuff's great. Like, it's super fun doing anything Leyline, like the avatars and all that stuff. Super fun. Um, but yeah, there's some projects can turn into just as much as people say, "Hey, I want to draw all day," like it has the capacity to turn into a job.
yeah.
Just
I
because
just
like
am used to hearing people in computers that are like, I used to game, I used to be really a computer hobbyist, but now that I work with them all day, I don't even touch them at home. And I was thinking how tragic that would be if that happened to you.
yeah, no, I don't. I still yeah, like I still draw at night and everything, so it's still just as fun. I think. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I did like a tattoo apprenticeship for a while when I was younger, and I was all into that. But I realized kind of that I really like story and narrative. So not that you can't have some story elements worked into tattoos, but that was kind of my realization when I was there that I'm like, oh, I really like having some sort of story in the art. So kind of led me back to storyboarding and comics and even this kind of illustration that there's like a narrative that's going on inside the piece instead of just like one image.
You took that a different direction than I expected. I expected you to say the pressure got to you.
Oh no,
No,
no. Kudos for those. Yeah, respect though for some of those. Yeah, it can be pretty stressful. I think not messing up. I think I want to make a batch. Really, yeah. So again, like the perspective lines have to work this way, right? It's the same thing. So yours going to be kind of back left. You can work it in big shapes. So even if its face is kind of going this way, maybe yelling or something, I would still kind of follow this. Just like on the middle one, draw on top. This is all shadow side of the body here, and then ears would be up there. So I keep that in mind when I go back to here. And it makes things simpler if you break them up to shapes. So this way, we're making struggling there to the not out, but hand. Well, the big question is, do you put bat wings on the back of the Batman, or do they have bat wings like on the arms of Batman? What are you not too sure.
think that's looking pretty good.
Okay. And again, I think tonight will be mainly kind of a sketch kind of tutorial idea segment and all. Yeah, I think then I'll keep the next one a little simpler, see how far I can get on that one, but still. Yeah, you can you can see all the things, right? Like even through this is kind of the most important kind of step a lot of the time. Like things even just like this window I think is too big, it's like for the composition. So like I think that's a good just tip for anyone that wants to do this stuff is keep everything loose at the beginning. Like don't like it's the habit that some people get that they get excited about their own drawing. And then at this stage, they'll jump in here and start like rendering out the face. Like, oh, it looks cool, but without getting the rest all kind of laid out beforehand. So it's a good idea just to keep it kind of standard. I want the doctor guy to be here, but smaller. I want this one to be a little tricky on the final thing. Just it's always simple if you just have one light source. So if we do have, it can be nighttime right here, so I keep this a little darker, but there'll be light coming through this window. Then if these things are zapping, right, then they're gonna cast a lot of light from here this way. So it's something to consider. What this guy to do? But the other thing to do here is you want to keep your shoulder direction and then your hip direction really important because your rib cage can't turn. So you've got to be holding a switch back here, pushing it down. Switches always go down. That mad scientist. Your hips, rib cage. I'm just trying to figure out where to put his weight. So you usually want weight on one leg. Could be spread between the two. That's too far though. Because you have the trick thing is to be like if this was coming this way, and if you even curl this a little bit like a lens. But if he's standing against this wall, feet would probably just be down here. It's not too big. I just shrink it down. This kind of exploration thing here. We need to have some stairs or something winding down this way. We're gonna put it off too. I'm gonna put some foreground stuff in anyway. Like check back on the yeah, so all the dark stuff in the foreground. So So this is kind of the horizon line. You guys still need to come out from there to make a table in front. And I come back this way to the drawers or something. This is big brushes, just like the kind of the sketch, but in the bigger version, laying it out. And then look at the things on here, and again, that's lights coming this way, and we know the back of this stuff's gonna be all dark. You want it dark because it's gonna push everything into the frame. Also helps if you want to choose like a focal point. Like so, if he's looking this way, we want more things pointing at the monster. Let's say. I'd almost shift them over to the right a little bit, but if you can point more lines, kind of a funny way to do it, but more things that you want to point at your focal point in the image, then you can do it that way. So even if you just make it that way, you can just make shapes and then figure out what those shapes are after, if that makes sense. I can spend too much time on this stuff, but I just want to do one more just to show like an evolution thing, but just for practical points. Grab that gray and just demonstrate that idea again. With a big brush. Get on there. Actually. I'll pick this up. There we go. Good chunkier concept brushes that have more opacity. And then having that focal point in mind and knock back everything else. In the image. Light colors there. Those two. And that up clean. I just try to go as fast as I can so we still time for this stuff. But okay, the shadow side, monster, to be kind of like a Batman. Not Batman, but a Batman. And then if you really play up some reflections when I kind of paint it with the table to bring this light source up, and I would actually probably even make this pretty dark at nighttime at the window as a shape, and then he's gonna have a bunch of darkness on this side. So we're just cutting off shapes because your finger face is one angle on the side, there's another. He has dark hair, and this arm can be in shadow. And then this guy will be shadow. Okay, kind of just like really simplifying how it looks kind of messy right now, but if you trust me, you kind of do things this way to block it out. When I knock it back, could even more grays.
That layer that you just took on and off that kind of inverted everything for a second, that would be a nice flickering effect with the lightning strobes.
Yeah. Yeah, just make that blinding light. That's my intention, would be make this really dark and then keep these somewhat light and really crank it up when everything goes that way. But so let me just turn off, demonstrate like what I'm thinking. Let's see. Alright, so yeah, some of this stuff. And then from this stage, you knock everything back again. We can actually start drawing